Yeah, man.
on the new opportunity.
We'll be able to run these in person once in a while when I get
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah.
We talked a couple of times. That's what's up,
Absolutely.
man.
What's going on with
That's
you?
what's up. Not much, man. About to head to Dallas um, for the fourth and everything. So I'll leave out there. I leave for there Friday. Um, and visit some family and stuff like that out there. That's about it. That's really about it, man.
You gonna see your nephew?
Yep, we'll get a chance to see my nephew. He actually has a tournament, a basketball tournament out at North Texas. Um, so I get a chance to get a chance to see him play ball in one of his tournaments and everything. So
Cool, man. That's what's up. Have you been since we were there?
I haven't been yet. I haven't been back yet,
Cool. It's gonna be humid.
bruh. So he sent me what the heat was gonna look like what the weather was gonna look like while I was out there. I think when I get there, it's gonna be 105.
With humidity, which is crazy.
Right. It's like so, bro. I'm gonna be then it's supposed to be like upward 95 and higher every day that I'm there.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Like out here, it gets hot, but it's like less than 20% humidity, so it's very like bearable. Like if you're just not in the sun, it feels fine. I can't even imagine having the combination of like over 100 degrees and being that humid. Oh, that's terrible.
Like you just stay inside.
Yeah,
That's the stay, stay
that'd be cool,
inside.
man. You staying for a week?
Yes, I'll be there from Friday till Wednesday.
Nice. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool,
So I
cool.
get a chance to get out a little bit, but other than that, yesterday went out and hung out with a friend of mine. So we went downtown. You ever been to Detroit Shipping Company?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep. So went down there and then hit up Shelby Detroit, which is like one of the speakeasies that's downtown. So yeah,
Cool,
had a good time.
cool. Nice, man. Love to hear it. I think this whole episode is gonna basically just be like NBA shit, man. I mean, there's like way too much to cover.
There's so much shit going on in the NBA, bro.
Yeah, man. I don't even know like where do you want to start with like free agency or the draft?
We can start with free agency. I think the draft was kind of like
Expected.
predictable.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know who you'd say the biggest name that moved is, but I kind of wanted to start with like the Chris Paul thing. Like, what do you like? I am so baffled by that one, man. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like there's such a fast-paced offense, and Chris Paul's such a like slow the game down, like control the tempo by himself. So I just don't
Yeah.
see how that works.
So I think it can work, but it would only work if they plan on making CP3 a backup point guard,
Okay.
and that's it. Like, I would not put him in my starting lineup. I would leave it with Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, and Looney. I would leave my starting lineup, and then I would just have let Chris kind of run things with that secondary unit. Uh, and I think it may be helpful for those guys to probably play at a different pace because I think at a faster pace they tend to like make mistakes. And I think CP3 would do a really good job of like getting those guys the ball in like their spots where they'll be
Mhm.
successful. They'll really start to see the boom. So I think it can work, but it's only in that space where he's like a backup point guard.
Yeah, I don't not like that. I think that's a good point. I mean, if you're gonna start him, how are you gonna start him and Steph? I mean, that's like two undersized guards. Steph isn't very good at D. Chris is, but I mean, he can only do so much because he's so little, you know. So like, I don't think that would work at all. But do you think they'd bring Chris in during crunch time, like fourth quarter, like both of them?
Maybe just so that way, I mean, you have another ball handler and everything, and then plus, I mean, during the fourth quarter, the game slows down anyway. Um, and you're doing, but the thing is, and they talk about that, especially with Chris in the game, things become just everything is just a high pick and roll, and that's not the Warriors' offense. They come off a lot of like pin downs and cuts and back screens, so it will be a shift in the way that the offense is kind of ran if he's running them.
Yeah, if Chris is running it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Chris could just be the main ball handler, and then Curry and Clay could like run the wing and just come off pin downs and screens and stuff like that. I mean, that'd be kind of dangerous.
I think it's a different defensive mindset when you have Steph coming off that pick and roll and him running it versus Chris. You almost have to double team Steph off of that pick and roll.
Right.
Otherwise, if he comes off of it, he can look at your ass. Like
Hmm.
he's gonna let that three ride, right?
Hmm.
Versus if you get Chris Paul, you know that you can drop because he's not really looking to take the three. He's looking to take that mid range. So like the attack is a little bit different.
Yeah, that's true. And then I guess we don't really know. Clay didn't really look like himself this year. I don't know if that's like a sign that he's like going downhill or like if he can have a bounce back year. He had a couple decent games, but he just didn't look like,
Yeah, I mean, I think
2016, 17 Clay.
yeah, I don't think, and I don't know if he'll get back to that, but I mean, he still was putting up like 20 points a game. I think more so for me, I think it was just the on things on the defensive side. He's just not that same guy, right? But I think offensively, he can get back there, and um, I just if Chris is gonna get put into their starting lineup, bro, because really, truly, it's Draymond that's their point guard. Like if
Right.
we're being honest, he's the one that really kind of runs their offense. And having Chris there too, just really, I don't know if he goes in that starting lineup, I'm gonna be super bad.
Well, do you think Draymond stays? I mean, I know they got rid of Jordan Poole, so did that clear the way for him to like just resign? Like, because I know he opted out. So
I think they opted out so that way he can get a longer contract rather than actual dollar amount. Just getting one that's going to take him out a little, maybe like another 4 years and probably retire. But I think that they have to. If they let Draymond go, who do you get to try to replace him in that space that can kind of like anchor the defense and be that versatile on defense?
right. Yeah, I don't know. That team would be so small if Chris Paul was that starting point guard, man. Him, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond, like at the five. Like, how would that work? Like, that just would be way like they didn't solve their size problem at all. Like, they still need to go out and
No,
figure that out.
yeah, and they even try to get size in the draft. They went and got that kid from Santa Clara. That's I mean, granted he's 6'6", but like they hardly have anybody that's over like 6.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of their formula even when they were winning. I mean, they always had at least one big dude like Bogut or McGee or someone like that, but they need that. That was like a clear deficit to them last year was the fact that they did not have anyone on the inside. So, I mean, I'm sure they can get someone in free agency though. They're a very like appealing organization at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be dependent upon what's out there in the market to get, and if you can afford it. Like who's out there that they could potentially go and get.
Right. But they really just need someone with size. I don't think it has to be some really skilled player. They're not going to see the
Oh, it
ball very
doesn't.
much.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get someone the same breadth of like a JaVale McGee, but like I don't know who that is though.
Yeah, I don't either. I have to pull up a list of free agents so we can kind of go through. But
I don't know.
what do
Yeah,
you
I don't know.
think? I mean, do you think they have a chance to make a deep playoff run again? I told you before the season ended, I thought this was like their last dance. Like I think like it's gonna kind of crumble now. But
I don't think. I think that they could potentially definitely make another run. They just need to add some size, and they need like one veteran piece. They can get like a veteran wing. I think that will help. I don't know who that is though.
I don't
I'm
either.
like, let me. Who could they go? I mean, I don't think he'll leave because I was sitting there thinking like maybe they could try to go and get what's the name back from the Kings, but I don't know if they can afford him.
Been at the free agency tracker. Kevin Love is a free agent.
Yeah,
I think he would fit that system great. I don't know if they could pay for him, but I don't think he's like worth as much as he used to be.
yeah. Oh, go. I don't know if he can produce at the same level. I mean, they could potentially try and go and get Harrison Barnes, but I don't think he's a free agent. Bring him
Okay.
back into the fold, but I think he'd be a great pick back up in that spot. But I
Yeah.
don't know if they could afford him.
I don't know what their salary cap situation is, but there's again Kevin Love, Nikola Vucevic, Jeremy Grant, Brooke Lopez.
Brook Lopez, yeah, that's just the thing. Like, can they afford Brook Lopez? Like a lot of this come down to like if they can afford them or if they can uh, bring them in. Because I was honestly thinking, and I think I told you, well, no, I ain't told you this. I was sitting there thinking this. Like I thought Vucevic would be a pretty decent fit with Phoenix had they had traded eight.
Hmm. I think so too. He's a really skilled big. I enjoy
He's
him.
big. He's bigger. He's got the size. Like that offense with him in it with KD and Book would have been pretty crazy.
Dario Saric, Mason Plumlee, they're both out there.
Plumlee actually, I think, could really fit in with Golden State.
Yeah, he's
He's a
exactly like one of those type of players.
he is. He's a hell of a rebounder. He actually is really good at passing the ball. Like, dude, I think dude just as fast maybe average like 5 or 3 to 4. I think he at least average about 4 assists a game. Like, dude, he could be a really good fit into that Golden State lineup.
Rudy Gay, is this dude still in the league? I'm serious. He's on this list. I had no idea
I
that dude still played.
playing for the Spurs.
What? That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
wild. I thought he'd retired a couple years ago.
No.
Yeah, but I think someone like Mason Plumlee, again, they don't need someone that's like extremely skilled. It's just got to be like a body that can rebound
They just
and
need a
block
big
shots.
body that can go get some boards and play defense.
So you don't think Draymond leaves? That's not happening.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they can afford to. If Draymond leaves, they're definitely not making another.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure. What about your boy getting Bradley Beal? What was your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it answered the question as to like their need. It didn't answer that question, right? Like their needs are they just need to get deeper. Now, granted, I mean they're fucking top heavy. Like that's a hell of a fucking trio. That's a hell of a trio. But the scoring wasn't their issue. They just
Yeah.
couldn't. They couldn't really play that great defense, and they weren't a deep team. And you made your bench shorter because you just got rid of Landry Shamet.
So do you think they put Book at the one, or are they going to bring in like another point guard and then have Book and Beal and then put Durant at the four?
I would assume they probably put Book at the one. I mean, he looked good as hell running the one while he was in the playoffs. I mean, dude was going fucking crazy. He had a
Yeah, I
couple of
agree.
games where he was like over 70% from the field and still putting up like 10 assists. So
Yeah, I like him at the one.
he could be nice with him. And the thing that I think can make it work is that we just all know that KD is probably the most like the least demanding superstar there is. Like where he just truly doesn't really need the ball all that much to do what he does. And that's the only reason why I think this could potentially work. Because like KD doesn't, he's not a player that just needs the ball a ton. KD can put up 15 shots and still get you like 25.
Well, I don't think there was any reason for it not to work, to be honest with you. I mean, they now have, in my opinion, the most star-studded team in the league. So it's like it's up to the Suns, obviously, to fill out the rest of that roster. But like, there's no excuse for them not to win. I mean, that team is so fucking top heavy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the thing is they just that's the reason why they got beat by the Nuggets. The Nuggets are once they go starts to go to the bench, the Nuggets are just so deep and then they're so good defensively.
Hmm.
Like that's the thing that kind of makes it tough. Is just they need they need players and they need just
Yeah,
like some decent bench players that should just come in and just do a job.
that's crazy. So they got what, four max contract players now? Like that's pretty wild.
It is wild. It is
That's
really wild.
so I mean, yeah, it's up to the Suns to fill out the rest of that, which is like good D, good shooters, things like that. But I mean, to me, like they just sitting now, even without knowing what the rest of that roster is going to look like they have to be the favorite to me. Like I would think like they got him.
I mean Denver this year, and I think I said this at the beginning of the year that Denver was going to be a bit of a sleeper this year, just because of that team. But like, bro, that just what they do defensively, and then what Jokic is. I mean, he damn near abused everybody in the playoffs, bro.
He did.
Get Murray, that's just. I mean, he'll have an off game, but then he'll drop 40. Like that team is just very well rounded.
They are. I mean, I don't know how many of them are free agents and how many they're retaining, but yeah, the team's great for sure. If Jamal can stay healthy, it's a
Yeah,
big
I mean,
thing.
I think that I think that they need to make a very concerted effort to bring back Bruce Brown. If I'm not mistaken, is it KCP a free agent too?
He might be. I'm not sure.
So yeah. Well, to go back real quick on that Chris Paul trade, I felt like Jordan Poole wasn't gonna after the playoffs finished. I felt like Jordan Poole wasn't gonna be with the Golden State Warriors. They saw that like he didn't perform at all
Yeah, it
in
was
the finals.
weird. He became like non-playable. Like it was
He
crazy.
just like it was just a mess. And now dude literally probably got about to go to Washington and put up probably like 25 again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what everyone does there. I mean,
So, but
give him
it's
a little
gonna
minute. Give him a minute, kind of boost his stats a little bit, kind of see what happens after that. Washington is like literally that team, bro. That's where like a team goes, they're like a player goes to like boost their stats and they get traded somewhere else. Like it's,
bruh,
they're
yeah,
a mess
just
over
yeah.
there.
Yeah, I don't know what that organization is doing. I mean, maybe they're figuring like they're just going to retool and start to do a rebuild. And I think they just need to go ahead and accept that they're going to do a rebuild. I think
Yeah.
maybe getting rid of Bradley Beal was the start of that, and then trading for Zingas and everything. I think that was the start of them like just realizing that we just need to go into a rebuild.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll see how that goes. They just, like you said, I don't know what that organization is doing, man. Like the players they bring in, they never seem like they're going to be long-term answers. Like it's like I don't know. That's
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me that they made that trade. Honestly, that's a very Washington Wizards thing to do. What do you think
Yeah.
about the Porzingis thing, though? Do you think that's going to put them over the hump a
So
little
it's
bit?
tough for me to see why Boston got rid of Marcus Smart, though. That's the thing that, like, of that trade that, like, I'm just not understanding. I think it's a great move for Memphis. I think that they really won that trade because you get somebody that can kind of hold things down until Ja gets back. Now, granted, he's not Ja, but he's a great point guard. He's a great defender. He's gonna grind. He kind of fits in. He'll help kind of mold that team. He could probably be a great mentor for Ja. But then when Ja comes back, he can slide over, guard whoever the toughest defender is that Dylan Brooks was supposed to do. But now you have Marcus Smart to be able to do that. So, and plus we know that Marcus Smart is a better shooter. And is going to perform at a better level than what Dylan Brooks did. So I think it's a great fit. It's not that I don't think Porzingis fits in Boston, but it's like what they lost, what they had in Marcus Smart is the thing that concerns me. Because like then
Mhm.
who becomes your starting point guard? Are you starting like Derek White or are you starting Brogdon?
I would start Derek Wright, and I like Brogdon off the bench. But I get what you're saying. Is their center still Al Horford, or is he gone now?
I don't know. I think Al may be a free agent too, but like I wouldn't want to bring Al so old, bro.
He is old.
Al like what 30? Al's got to be at least like 38.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, will
Like
they play Porzingis at the center or the four?
I think you can play him at the four, play Robert Williams at the five, which would be fine. I mean, Porzingis can shoot the ball and everything, so I think it works.
Yeah, that's a stacked team right there. Holy shit. I mean,
Um,
I get what you're saying. You're giving up defense. Smart was kind of like that heartbeat a little bit, like Draymond is for the Warriors, you know. But what you said about Memphis, I totally agree. And now you've got someone that's a defensive player of the year on the wing, and then you've got the current defensive player of the wing, or you have the year down low, Jaren Jackson Jr. Once Ja gets back, that's gonna be a good team. I think you're right. I think they really won that more than anybody. That's a great
for
trade.
sure, for sure. I mean, that trade just makes so much sense. They just gotta have to just ride the ship and make sure that they can kind of stay afloat um, until Ja gets back. Um, but yeah, that trade was very, very interesting.
What
Um,
about Kyrie? Where do you think he's going?
that's a tough decision, man. Um,
Do you think he's staying?
I am leaning more towards thinking that he's going to stay
Really? I'm the opposite.
in
Okay, tell me
Dallas.
why.
Because I don't think that it's a situation that the whole experiment between him and Luca didn't work. They just don't play defense. Like none at all. Like it's non-existent.
Yeah,
And
that's
I,
true.
I like the fact that they picked up Derek Lively in the draft, so I think that that will help. And they need some wing defenders, but if they can start to just fill in a roster with some guys that'll actually play D, I honestly think that the offense can work. But they also need to like their offense is almost kind of like how Oklahoma City was when they had KD and West. It's like, okay, your turn, now my turn, your turn, and like they just went back and forth, and that's what Dallas looks like, right? Where they're just like Luka gets the ball, and then Kyrie gets the ball, and Luka, like, and it doesn't. The offense doesn't really seem to flow all that well because they both. Kyrie can just go 1-on-1. You really don't need to pick and roll, and then Luka, he needs to pick and roll so that way he can get the advantage, put his body into you, snake around you, and all that stuff. So um, the kid has to just figure out a better offensive flow for them so that way they can coexist. And it may
Yeah,
just they play faster.
no, I agree. I mean, defense is the number one thing, but I don't think you can like instill that in them. The only thing you can do at this point is try to like get better defenders around them because like Kyrie is who he is at this point. Luke is young. I guess he could still develop defensively. He's just slow, so it's kind of hard. Like like that's not really something that I don't know.
I mean that
He's
he's
young.
slow. He don't even try though. But like
Yeah,
really doesn't try.
no.
Like he's a pretty physical dude, but he doesn't really try to play defense. So uh I don't know if Kyrie was to go anywhere, would he? I have
I just
not
always
much.
want to see him play with LeBron again, bro. Like every time he's a free agent, I'm just like, that was like one of my favorite duos I ever watched. And what's crazy, man, is like what you just said is so true. But I feel like he did that with LeBron, like the you go, then I go thing, but it worked for some reason. I don't know if it's because LeBron was just such a good passer and like just knows the game so well, but like it worked when they did it, you know?
Well, I think it was because LeBron was actually again kind of like we talked about with Draymond. LeBron was actually the point guard. And he was the one that was really initiating offense and then kind of let Kyrie kind of work when he needed to. Because in a lot of those games, if you look at, especially in that finals, Kyrie was like their closer
Mm-hmm.
going
Mm-hmm.
to work. So like,
He'd work out in LA. I think he would if he could like, not miss a bunch of games and like play. Like that would be I just feel like Kyrie's best basketball is played with LeBron. I know he's older now, but like to your point, if LeBron could just sit back, kind of be the point guard, get like 20 points a game, and then like let AD kind of fill out the meat of it, and then Kyrie could be your closer, and you just know because AD's not a closer either. So it's like if it was just known in the fourth quarter, like, okay, Kai gets the ball, let him go to work type of thing. That'd be
it would work.
dangerous.
Yeah, because LeBron, I don't know if he has that same amount of juice in him left to kind
He
of really
doesn't.
close it out like that. But Kyrie definitely know he has it. Real quick, I want to go back to this whole the Kevin Durant thing. And I've been seeing this a lot where like people are really trying to ride on Kevin Durant about him and these like teams or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, this is a stain on his legacy. It didn't work out in Brooklyn. It didn't. And I'm like, bro, it wasn't his fault that it didn't work out in Brooklyn.
Continue.
Like, like, is it his fault that they was whooping the Bucks ass? They were giving it to them. And then what happened? Kyrie gets hurt. And then he sprained his ankle or something like that.
James was hurt too, I think.
And then yeah, James Harden pulled a hamstring and he was over here running around on one leg. And Kate, they because what the first two games, I think they were beating them by
Yeah, they
it
won the
was
first
like
two.
60 points those first two games or something like that. Like
Yeah.
they were giving them the business when they were healthy. And then those guys get completely injured, and then you're expecting KD because who ended up winning that? Was that
Bucks may have won
the
that year.
Bucks?
That may have been the Bucks.
Like had they not got injured, which is all hypothetical, but if the Bucks won and they were giving them the business that series, it's a
They were
completely
absolutely,
story.
man. I mean, I'm with you there. I don't think like all the blame is on Kevin Durant. I just think it didn't work out, right? And then the next year was a shit show, and then they kind of traded people away.
Yeah.
But then he goes to the Sun. My thing is just like I feel like he has enough star power around him in a lot of these situations where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have unfortunate situations. You're not always gonna win, but like I've been calling him the best player in the world for like the last couple seasons. So I'm like, okay, like you've got your running mates with you, man. Like I need to see you just like go do it now. Like I don't know, like it's he's got enough with him right now that I feel like he can do it. It's kind of the point I was bringing up earlier. Like it's up to the Suns to fill out the rest of that team with minimum like contract players that can play D, shoot, whatever. But like you've got your squad. Like they're like I don't feel like there's any excuses at this point from a skilled perspective. Like your locker room is as skilled as any team in the league. Like you're Kevin Durant. Like go do it. You know.
Yeah, I'm not giving you that, but I think the Brooklyn thing. I think they're giving him the brunt of like why that didn't work out. When I don't know if you can put that on his shoulders.
No, but it's just how it works, man. The superstar is going to get most of the accolades when they win, and they're going to get, the brunt of it when you lose. That's just kind of how it
Like
works when you're at that
you
status.
really look at it, like most of that shit ain't have nothing to do with Kate.
No, mm-mm. I agree with
Great.
you.
Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about because I like literally I was seeing this like, oh, this is staying on his legacy. Like, what did he do? Like, yeah, I think people like read too much to this whole like the dude's legacy is cemented.
Well, it
Like,
is. He's an all-time great, but don't you think he needs to now continue to win outside of the Warriors to really bring himself into that like top 10, top five? Like if he wants to really like boost himself,
I
like
don't
I
think
don't,
he's gonna get there.
you don't think
I
so?
don't think he's gonna get there. I don't think he's gonna reach into the top five.
No top 10? You
And
think
I
he'll get
think
top
he, or
10?
yeah, top 10. I don't think he's gonna get to the top 10, but I think he can be in the top 15 like right now.
From a skilled perspective, absolutely, yeah. And that's just the oh, it's so hard to have these conversations, bro, because it's like, what is the ratio of like how skilled they were and what they did as to opposed to like how much they won? Like that's a really hard thing to. I always bring up the Bill Russell thing, man. I just like he's like from a different generation. Obviously, he's the most accomplished, but like I feel like if you dropped him in the league now, his skills would be nowhere near what players are now. But obviously, he's the most accomplished player ever. So like he's put in the top 10, top
Yeah,
five.
but
So
also too, it's hard with Bill because like it was like 12 teams in
exactly, yeah,
the league, and they like half of their fucking roster was all stars. So
right.
like it's like it was a reason why the dude won like 13 championships, 11 championships, however many it was. And they weren't really. It wasn't that same amount of like talent. It wasn't that much talent because you got to remember it was two distinct leagues. It was the CBA and the ABA, and
ABA.
then in the
Mm.
NBA, right? And so like they weren't competing with as many guys and stuff like that. So it's a completely different like generation. I don't want to take away from the fact that like I mean he still went out there and they won and he competed with Wilt, right? And we know that Wilt is probably one of the greatest players ever to do the game, but he won.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to cut him short on that, but like also it wasn't that many teams at that time. So yeah,
So
but
you think KD's top 15 right now?
I do think so. I think he's top 15.
Do you think he'll win another ring?
I want to wait to see what the rest of this roster looks like, but I think he can win it this upcoming season. I think he can.
That's what I'm
I feel
saying. He should be able
like you
to.
said, like the talent is there, right? And we know what happens on teams where they have that talent. Because we got, and like, I think we also forgetting the fact that like with the Nets this year, they had the best record in the league, if I'm not mistaken, that one
Mm-hmm.
with just him and Kyrie.
Yeah.
So I think that they can. I think they're definitely going to look good this year, especially with that group of the players. They just have to fill in those pieces. Um, and I think they're. I mean, either way, they're going to be a dangerous out. But I don't think KD is going to drop. Like, if he doesn't win another one, for me, I don't think he's going to drop out of the top 15.
Yeah, no,
I
no,
think
no. I'm not into that either. I think when you get to a certain level, like and you're cemented. Like, you can't like pull people back and be like, nah, like what you just
right.
did there like takes away from your legacy now. Like I'm not into that. That's so
Yeah,
stupid. I'm
yeah.
tired of that. That's something that just happens in general, man. Just like judging athletes based more on like their failures and their accomplishments. Like it's like, bro, their accomplishments, like you said, is what like cements them. They can then like fuck up the rest of the time that they're in the league. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, like
It's in there. So, um, I wanted to ask you about what was it? What trade was it that like it was like a real um low key thing that I was looking at. It's like Was it the? Oh, that's what it was. And it wasn't even a trade or anything, but like Lonzo Ball probably not going to even play next year.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like,
I know
what
we
do you
kind of
think
touched on that
about
last week. I mean, they're saying that he might not play again, right? That's kind of the worry.
like ever?
I thought that was like the worry was because of his knees. They were saying like he's done, possibly. That's
Oh,
what I had
I thought
heard.
it was just a bit, but I mean, it seemed like it ended up going that way though. To be honest with you,
Yeah. I don't know. It
like
stinks. He's one of those great key players that I think could like swing a team just because he's so good defensively and he's such a good passer of the basketball. But like, I don't know if it's fact, but bro, like I keep reading that they're saying like the Bulls are worried he's like done playing basketball. Like he's gone.
yeah, I
So
mean, because you look at how that team looked when he was like they
they look great.
were top three in the East, like, and they were just hell of a fucking like the ball was just moving around between DeRozan and Levine. Like they looked good with him
It
on the
did.
court. Damn near, if I'm not, I think it's shooting like 41% from the 3 point line. Like dude was balling, and then now they look lost
They
without him on.
do. That's crazy what a year does, man. Like they look terrible this year. I don't
Yeah,
know. I like what's the question? You like is he what I'm confused what you're asking me just
like
as
does
far
he
as
come back or like?
I
Yeah,
don't
I just don't
know,
know.
man.
Like, does he be like, or do you like? Are you if you're him? Do you try to even come back?
Well, that's kind of the thing too. And it's like, will he be the same player when he comes back? He's been gone, what, 2 years now, right?
Yeah,
I don't know,
year and a
man.
half.
If it's that career threatening, sometimes you got to just do what's best for you and not continue to play. I'd have to look more into it though, because I didn't
Yeah,
understand. It was something with his knee, right?
yeah.
Which is crazy to me. I'd never heard of that being like a career threatening injury,
Well, I think
but
it's like it's the I think it's something with like a meniscus.
gotcha.
That's the thing. That's like the recovery because he had like a cartilage transplant like surgery or something like that.
Hmm.
So do
Hmm.
this because it almost reminds me, and I'm not saying that like he is at the level of Brandon Roy, but it reminds me like the whole Brandon Roy thing. Right? Brandon Roy was a fucking dog,
He was.
like ball his ass off, but then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you just hear that Brandon Roy's retiring. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very similar thing. You're right. What about Chris Middleton?
He opted out of that contract,
That
but
shocked me. I didn't think that
that
would
shocked
happen.
the shit out of me too.
I don't think he's going to get the same value anywhere else.
No,
So,
he's not. I don't even know if he's going back to. Do you think he'll go? I don't know if he's going to go back to Milwaukee
no, I don't either. And that's why I'm confused. I feel like he's trying to like test the waters, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that offer anywhere else. So, like, I was
because
just like,
I've randomly heard that like I've heard him being linked to the Heat,
that would be cool. That would help
which
them out a lot
I think that could like really work out and give them another like playmaker outside of like Jimmy.
for sure. And then you still got like Hero coming off the bench. Like, that'd be a deep team.
Yeah,
Or would they run Hero at point? Because I know Lowry doesn't start anymore. Who starts for them at point? Is it Struce or that other guy? Like, I
yeah,
don't,
Max Strus. Yep.
yeah.
Or no, sorry, no. Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent.
Yes. Gabe Vincent. Yeah.
Yeah,
That could help them a lot. That might be what puts them over. Chris Middleton is one of those weird guys where it's like when he's on, I'm like, damn, like you look really fucking good. And then he's just like not on other times. You're like, I don't know who this guy is, you know?
yeah. He's a very like enigmatic type of player where like you said, he just be on and he's like you're like damn dude can ball,
Hmm.
and then other nights you don't even realize that he's on the court.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I feel like they're going to take a step back. I don't, for some reason, I feel like they're not going to resign Brooke Lopez. I feel like it's just going to be a bad year for Milwaukee. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It's so early to tell, but I just feel like they might again just have like a quick playoff exit. I think it's going to take them another couple years to kind of bring in someone else to really build that
yeah.
team back up.
Well, let's see. If they don't sign Brooke Lopez, I could see them putting a lot of money into probably going to go get Vucevic, which I
Hmm.
don't think that I think he kind of still falls in that same mold of Brooke Lopez that he's not the defender that Brooke Lopez is, but like from an offensive standpoint, he can stretch the floor, he's solid down low, and he can get rebounds. It's just how do you replace the the production that you were getting from Middleton, like who do you go get that can give you what you were getting from out of Middleton?
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know who's out there.
I don't either, but Vucevic is a good one. I think that's pretty much a wash. Like you said, I don't think he's as good defensively, but offensively, it's the exact same type of dude, like a skilled big. He can shoot the mid range, shoot the three. Um, yeah. Next couple weeks, man, it'll be interesting to see kind of how everyone falls now that the draft's over. We'll kind of get a better picture of what it's going to look like. Oh, this is the worst time of the year, man. Like other than like combat sports, like NFL, we're
It's
waiting on. NBA
baseball.
just ended. Yeah, I don't really watch baseball, so I'm just kind of like,
It's tough. It is tough, bro. What about so with the draft happening and the Blazers drafting Scoot Henderson? What's going? What do you think is going to happen with
I
him?
hope. Well, like I didn't. It wasn't really on my radar, but I had just seen some like sports media people talking about it. That apparently them drafting Scoot like might make Dame want to leave, and like I don't know how valid that is, but like I kind of hope that's the case, man. Like Dame is like my favorite player, and I just want him to be in a situation where he could win. He's another one I would just love to see with LeBron, man. Like I feel like that would be such a good like duo, man. Like I would love to see him go to the Lakers or just some team where he can actually like make a winning difference, man. I want him to get a deep playoff run. Scoot to me he's a terrible shooter right now, but other than that, man, he's a fantastic player. Like his athleticism, his ability to
Yeah,
drive, like he's crazy, man. I'm surprised he went. I didn't really watch. Is Brandon Miller his name, the second overall pick? I don't watch a lot of college ball, so I like look. I watch his tape, but like it just surprised. I thought Scoot should go second overall. Honestly, like the dude is.
and the thing about what I think would have made it difficult for Scoot to go second is because you already got Lamelo,
Yeah,
right? And so it'd be weird to kind of have them both on the court because it's not like you're gonna put Scoot at the two,
yeah,
especially understanding he's not the greatest scorer, not the greatest shooter. Um, so I understood why they went with Brandon Miller because they could use that wing person. Because Brandon Miller, to me, and he even talked about this like in a pre-draft interview where they asked him like who was his GOAT, and he said Paul George. And then when he said Paul George, and I was like, that makes sense because his game is very much like Paul George, where he's got the smooth handle, really good in the mid-range pull-up, like just a very silky type of game. And Brandon Miller reminds me of that.
he does.
So
Yeah,
I think it could really fit because they need some of that wing scoring. Um, and I think that combination of him and Melo, not to mention, I've been hearing that like Bridges may be coming back to Charlotte too.
yeah, you're right. I heard that.
And if he comes back, they can go ahead and move on from Gordon Hayward or break him off the bench. But like Charlotte with Rozier and Kelly Oubre and Brandon Miller and Bridges, I don't even know who's their center.
I don't either.
I don't know. Is it Nick Richards? I don't even know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like that team is just it. They're a young team that could be pretty dangerous next year.
Yeah, they are young. Even though it's like middle of the age, got like Miles Bridges is still really young. You know, LaMelo's obviously really
Yeah,
young.
was he only like 25, 26?
Yeah, that's a young
Maybe.
team, but they're
Crazy.
very young and very athletic. Like that team would
Yeah,
be. Yeah.
they just got to pay at the right place. What do you think about Jordan selling the team?
Who would you say?
Well, about Jordan selling the team.
Oh, I mean, he made a lot of money. I saw from like what he bought it for.
He made a shit ton.
He made a lot. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been very successful with them. So I mean, it's like you made a huge. There was a great investment. You made a lot of money off it. It seems like a lot of pressure and stress to like not really succeed very much. Like whatever. Like cool, do your
Yeah.
thing, man.
I think he'd still be a minority.
Okay.
I think he still has a minority stake in it too. But
What do you think? So what will Scoot run the point in Portland?
I
I
don't
don't
think
feel
they.
like
I don't
Dame
think
would let
so.
him do that.
No, I'm pretty sure Dame will run the. It much kind of like what they did with him and CJ, right? Where they'll CJ that Scoot will kind of run the two, Dame will run the one, and that kind of be that. So
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it could make Dame want to leave?
I just don't see how it works because now also too, what do you do with Simon?
Yeah.
Like the team is just so loaded in the front court, or sorry, in the back court. Like I don't know how that works, bro.
I don't either. They're kind of one of those teams that I feel like they just have a ceiling because of like their market too. Like no big name free agents want to go over there,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It's tough. I think their best chance was that one year they made the Western Conference Finals when CJ was still there and Nurk was playing pretty well at the time and Dame was balling. But like I don't I feel like their window over the next 5 years is very slim. And like I don't blame Dame. Like honestly, like I kind of like what he says. Like I'm not gonna fall into like all the rest of your guys' like narrative of like what I need to do to like I want to play here the rest of my career. Like I want to win here. Like cool. Like I have no judgment on him because of that. I just don't think it can happen. So like I would love to see Dame in more Western Conference Finals or more NBA Finals. Like I want to see him win.
He deserved that big stage, bro. Like, dude, has been balling.
He really
And
has, man.
it'd be cool to see him on that stage because you know he would do work.
All right, man. Let's talk about the big guy. What is your thoughts on Wemby? Because like the more I've been watching him and stuff like that, man, like I've been doing research and stuff. Like obviously, like he has a lot of raw talent, really fluid movement for like that size, which is crazy. But like I don't know, man. The more I watch him, I'm just kind of like historically, people that big like never stay healthy for one, and for two, like when I look at his game, he just kind of like. And this is still like a compliment because he's a great player, but it's just like what's different between him and Kristaps Porzingis? Like they're kind of just like the same thing to me.
Um, that's a great question.
He's more athletic than Kristaps, it looks like, but it basically like their game is like the same type of thing. I would actually say Kristaps is probably a better shooter. Like Wemby's not that good of a shooter.
Not yet. I think he can develop it. I think it's just the fluidity in the game. Um, versus, I think we'll have to see because I think Chris didn't come here with this much buzz around him. Um, but I think it's like you said, it's the fluidity in his game and how he's able to. One thing I know he does better than Kristaps is he definitely handles the ball much better than Kristaps.
Yeah.
He's a much better ball handler now. Um, but I think when he'll get the opportunity, and then plus he's in an organization that does a hell of a fucking job developing players, especially international players, and getting them to adjust to the game. He's one of the fucking best coaches ever in pop, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
he'll get his opportunities to flow. So as far as this upcoming season, I mean, he's gonna win Rookie of the Year unless he unfortunately gets injured. But I'd be surprised if he doesn't put up at least, I would say about 18, 9, and maybe like 4 assists. He's putting up maybe like 2.5 blocks a game.
Yeah, his defense is going to translate immediately. He's a great defender for
Oh yeah.
sure. But and to your point, I know they have I forget what's dude's name. He's like the renowned shooting coach of the NBA, and he works for the Spurs. He's the one that got like Kawhi right, like after his first couple years and made him like a good shooter. I can't think of his
I
name.
know he's on. I can't think.
I
Is
don't know his
it
name.
Gunter? Is that his name?
I don't know. I just know they have like one of those world-renowned shooting coaches that works for the Spurs organization, and he like helped
I
Kawhi with
know who you're
his.
talking about.
So
Yeah,
you're right, he'll develop. It's scary, like people that size statistically, it's just so likely that they don't have a long career. Like, and that's just what. So I really hope he can stay healthy. But you're right,
because you
like
know,
what other organization to be at than San Antonio? I mean, they're the best at developing talent, hands down.
right. And then you think about too, like, and I shouldn't say this, but like, we got to remember that like Chet Holmgren is going to be a rookie next year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, they're almost one and the same player too. Like, very lanky, frail type of guys that have a similar skill set. So it'd be very interesting to kind of see the two of them because, if I'm not mistaken, they both competed in the 19U World Games, and they
Mm-hmm.
went at they
Mm-hmm.
like both went at one another. So it'd be interesting to see the two of them play.
Who is he with? The Thunder?
Yeah,
Yeah. Forgot about that. He was injured all year. You know what's
yeah,
crazy, man? I forget the players' names. I'm so bad at this because I don't watch college ball, but like I had read the night after the draft, just it's crazy how the game has changed. Like three of the best like centers in college basketball last year, like all went like undrafted just because of like how
yeah. Oscar Shigwe, Drew Timmy.
TMA was one. Yeah.
I forget the other one, but yeah, Oscar Shigwe and Drew Timmy for sure. Like, did get picked up, which is surprising because I felt like a team like Miami could have used Shigwe, like just with his size and his rebounding. Because like once Bam goes off the floor, Miami has no size,
Yeah.
right? And Shigwe, I think, would fit in so well with that team because he's really good defender, block shots, can get rebounds. So I didn't understand it. And then I'm not surprised that Drew Timmy didn't get picked up because he's slow. He's not the greatest shooter, and I think he's gonna I think he'll get exposed in the NBA.
Yeah, his athleticism is not really there. That's for sure.
No, I mean Jokic don't have really all that much athleticism either,
Yeah,
but
but he's so skilled.
he's very very skilled. Which Drew Timmy is as well, but he's just I think he's gonna get picked on and exposed, and it's not.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. It's wild. Let's talk real quick. I mean, I just brought up Kawhi, like, and you brought up Paul George. Like, what's going on over there? Like, I feel like they're gonna split that up here soon. Like, I just don't think it's
It's
working.
looking like it.
You
It's
know,
really looking like that team is going to split. I mean, they no one is healthy. They they just can't they can't stay on the court, and it sucks because like it's not like Kawhi doesn't want to play, but he just can't because of the knee issues that he's having. PG can't seem to stay healthy, so and it sucks because like Ty Lue is a hell of a for even for that team to be just as competitive as you got to give Ty Lue fucking credit. That dude is a fucking mastermind when it comes to being a coach, but that team just cannot stay healthy for anything.
I like. Did you hear Stephen A's take on Kawhi?
That he was the worst superstar
Listen,
ever.
like, I don't like Stephen A. Like, a lot of the times when he says stupid shit, but like, based on what he said, I was like, I agree with what he's
It
saying
makes
because he's
sense.
he's not talking about the skill. Like, it's just like
No,
he does nothing to market your franchise at
no,
all, and he never plays. So I was like, I really like that take. Like, it makes a
he's
lot of
not
sense.
wrong.
Like,
He's not wrong. I mean, he just Kawhi doesn't have a personality to help market anything. So unless he's on the court winning, you really can't market Kawhi, right?
mm, mm,
Uh, and then when he's not playing, he's really not being interviewed. So let's say like he is winning, at least you get the opportunity to kind of put him in the front of camera to where he can be quirky and then he can become like a meme or stuff like that. That can start the real. But he's not on the court for him to
he's a
be
really
interviewed
fun
for.
guy.
Right, that part, like, but you don't see that because he's not on the court, right? So you don't get those, right? So it's tough,
Exactly.
man. And
Yeah.
then I think PG is just like that. You know, you're both kind of going to the tail end of their careers, and they just can't stay healthy. And I think it's like I don't know where PG would go because I don't think they're going to look to get rid of Kawhi, but I don't know. They may just try to hold on and try to see if they can make one last thing happen this year. But
Yeah. Is he supposed to be healthy to start the year?
PG, I believe, will be. Why? I'm not sure.
Man.
I know they said he had surgery. They had the surgery, um, maybe a couple of weeks or so. Like maybe I think back on the 6th, I think they said he had the surgery. So they said that he should be back and ready to go by the time training camp rolls around.
I don't know,
So
man.
I
It's
don't know.
just so crazy. When that team came together, I was like, wow, like that's scary. Like those two
That
are
team's dangerous.
like
Dangerous.
just dynamic duo. That at the time, Pat Bev wasn't really old, and he was still one of like the best like on ball defenders in the league. I was like, damn, that team is scary good defensively. Like, and then you got two dudes that are like superstars on offense. I thought for sure they'd win it that year, and then it's just been like ever
It's a
since that
mess.
Denver series, it's just been like, yeah, it's been a mess. It's been terrible.
I will tell you this. A low key team that I want you to watch for, and it's going to be my sleeper team next year to make it into the playoffs. It's going to be the Orlando Magic.
Okay. Any specific reason why?
I just think that they have a lot of talent on that team, and they're probably for sure going to be the longest team in the league, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You go from Wendell Carter Jr. to Pablo Banchero to Franz Wagner. They just picked up this guy Anthony Black, Markel.
Small Bamba
Like,
still there?
no, remember he got traded to the Lakers.
Oh yeah.
But then they got Bobo.
Yeah, they are
They
long.
got Isaac whenever he can, stay healthy. But like all of those guys are like 6'4" and taller. Especially when you look at they got Gary Harris, but like you look at that backcourt, you got Franz at 6'10", Pablo Banchero at 6'10", Wendell Carter I think is at like 6'11". Like all those guys are just long. Like in between Franz and Banchero, they're just very athletic, lanky guys that can play. Like that team, I really the Magic are gonna be nice. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Keep an eye on them. Any other big teams that you think, man, fucking Zion, bruh. That pisses me off. I feel like that team had so much potential. Now, like, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, I don't know what the fuck's going
Out
on.
here being, that's what he out here doing. He out here being a young guy that got money. And did you see that the girl went and got his name tattooed on her face?
Oh,
It's
I did not see
literally
that.
she's got Zion right here, bro.
Oh man, you can't get involved with these crazy bitches, Mo. Just you can't do it. That's crazy. You have like the pick of the litter, and like you're choosing the crazy ones. Like,
He don't know that they're crazy. That's probably what the problem is. He not realizing what they crazy. It is hilarious. I was just like, dude,
oh,
you gotta chill out.
I know. I mean, doesn't it? And I hate to like indict someone and say this, but it does to me, whether it was that or the weight thing before, it just seems like basketball isn't his number one priority in life. Maybe he'll get there and he's just young, but to me, it seriously seems like I'm not saying he doesn't love the game and he doesn't want, but it just seems like he's not taking like the steps that like LeBron or Kobe or some of these other dudes took at that age to really ensure that like they'd be great. He seems like his mind is kind of elsewhere at this point in his career.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he just the hamstring dudes just can't seem to get in shape enough to really stay healthy and play. Of course, like when he balls, like he's dominant,
Yeah,
but
right.
he can't stay on the court for some reason. So
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing. I mean, just him, and then I know right before that we're talking about Kawhi, Paul George, like all these guys, man. That's like the number one thing is just like your availability is like the most valuable thing to these teams. Like I just that's got to be so frustrating as an organization in all those instances. Like with Kawhi, man. Like oh my God, they give him like
they
everything.
invested so much money into them, and it don't come to fruition. And I found this out. I was watching Earn Your Leisure snippet, and they had KG, and they were talking about like these contracts. Um, Back when like when KG had got like his 126, and that was like the most a player had ever got. He was like, it's funny how like they talk about how much like the contracts are, right, and how much these players are getting. He was like, but the things that they don't talk about is one, the player tax that these players get. And I think I talked to you. We had talked about this before, where the contracts, like anytime that a player goes and plays in a visiting city, they have to play that visiting city's. They have to play
State
that
tax.
tax,
Yeah. Hmm.
right, every single time. And it was because remember that I think we talked about the whole shit where like LA had put a tax on Jordan for when they went to during the finals or whatever, went and they beat them or whatever. Then LA
Hmm.
sent them a bill. It was like then it became like the jock tax or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but like these teams put so much money into it, but I didn't realize Kevin Garnett was talking about how they had in their contract to where like they had to pay back they had to pay back 10% of the contract back to the organization.
Like every contract, you have to do it.
Like the player contract, like those they had to pay like 10% back of their contract to the organization. Like
Mm,
what?
damn.
So it's really weird, but like yeah, like, these organizations just pay so much money to these players, hoping that they come, hoping that these things kind of like fall into fruition, and then it just nothing.
Yeah. Does not always work out, man. There's definitely a
But
risk on their side too. Like it's crazy. I
yeah,
wonder how much, like, yeah, those huge contracts after like everything they have to pay for, like what they actually come out to every single year. Like, because I know like the biggest ones, they're making what, like 50 a year, like Jokic, LeBron, Steph, those guys. Like, I wonder how much they actually take home like net after like all the taxes and paying for like their whatever, you know?
I don't know. Because
I mean,
I mean, the biggest thing is like that tax just eats so much of their fucking contract away. So yeah,
yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out. I'm gonna look into that. You
yeah,
got
you
anything
should.
else?
Nope, nothing else for me, my G.
It was a big NBA day. I mean, there's not really going to be much else to talk. I mean, I guess we can start getting into football here in the next couple weeks now that, shit's rolling around.
Yeah,
Free agency's ending and shit like that. Oh, did you
yeah.
see real quick, did you see what Jamar Chase said about Mahomes and Travis Kelce
Oh, I
responded to
saw the
him.
clip. What did he say? Go ahead.
So they asked him like who the best player in the league was, and Jamar Chase said Joe Burrow, and like the reporter was like, well, Burrow said it was Pat, and Jamar was like, Pat who? Like I don't know who that is or something like that, and like that was like a big thing for a minute, and then Travis Kelce on his podcast last week like kind of like brought it up and was like put like a public service announcement out to Jamar Chase and was like, don't you like ever disrespect Patrick Mahomes? Like we're coming this year and like all this shit. It was crazy. So I love that
I love
rivalry, man.
that. That's such a good rivalry, though.
And
Such a
also
good rivalry.
young. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm,
All right, my guy. Well, hope you have a good rest of your week. I should be good to go next Sunday if you are.
uh,
Oh, you're gonna be gone.
I will be on next
Hell
Sunday.
yeah. Well, you enjoy your time. You'll be back the week after that though, right?
Yeah, I'll be back a week after.
Okay. So we'll probably have like one or two we can run and then I'll be back in Michigan and then we'll pick it back up from there.
All right, sounds good, my man.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
Yeah.